speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket. Every Saturday morning now in our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for 3! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
It is On the Block with Strick and Austin here on a Tuesday. Beautiful day in the capital city. Sun shining, birds singing. Could not ask for a better day. I'm Austin Norman, my partner Erick Strickland on the road, rocking the Mavs. Stricky, how does the second half shape up for the Mavs? Feel good about them?
Actually, I think they could be a dangerous team in the Western Conference. Especially if Kyrie Irving and Luka continue to play the way that they've been playing as of late. Your guy, Lively, and you know those guys, and they've got great bench support. They've got that guard combination is just really tough, and it's once they figure kind of out how to play with each other, they're showing to be very dangerous. As long as they stay healthy, I think they'll be fine. They'll be a tough matchup for anybody. I mean, I think matchup's going to be key for them in a 7-game series.
For sure. I mean, it always is. We know that in basketball, but especially that Mavericks team. I want to throw this question out here to lead us off today. To the text line, to the comment section on our streams. Thanks to Starter Heyman and Allo for sponsoring those. Here's the question. Very simple. Would you rather have Nebraska basketball beat Creighton or Kentucky in the NCAA tournament? If you're a Nebraska basketball fan, would you rather beat Creighton or Kentucky in the NCAA tournament? 402-464-5685. Get those responses in, we'll go over them. Strick, I bring that up. I start with that because whenever I see a new bracket projection, I try to be on top of it, tweet it out on Twitter, just, to reference, to go back to see where, Nebraska is moving in these conversations. NCAA, Andy Katz put his out today, and it had Nebraska in the 8-9 game. Actually is a 9 seed taking on Colorado State, a team that beat Creighton down in Kansas City in their early season multi-team event. You'd be matched up if you won that game, presumably with Houston, who is a wagon, who's a machine. We'll get to that later in the show. But right below Nebraska in the bracket, the next group of 4 teams had Kentucky in the 5-12 matchup and Creighton in the 4-13. Okay, that's pretty interesting. that if Nebraska and Creighton, all they have to do is win, 2 games, and they end up playing each other. So I saw that, and Thunder Not Collins, loyal listener, really appreciate you following on Twitter and tapping into the show whenever you do. Thunder Not Collins says that Nebraska-Creighton Sweet 16 rematch is going to be electric. I made this comment in response. Creighton doesn't get past Kentucky in this region. Creighton's maybe slightly more well-rounded. I just think Kentucky's a better team. I really do. So that's my rationale for that. And Thunder Not Collins.
Do you really think they're a better team, or you just think they're just more athletic and more super talented and tough in that aspect? Or do you really think they're a better team?
I think they're a better team.
Okay.
I don't think they've played up to it yet. I think they're developing. I think Cal will instill some defensive toughness there. We haven't seen some of the stinkers that Creighton has put out there from Kentucky since like week 3 of the season. So yeah, Kentucky's lost games, but I still think Kentucky is better and has a higher ceiling than Creighton does. But Thunder Not Collins says, why are you out here crushing my dreams? Beating Creighton in our first ever Sweet 16 appearance is what I want. Here's what I said. I said, that would be sweet. Don't get me wrong. But you're telling me a win over Creighton would mean more than a win over Kentucky? And he went at me. He flamed me. Some other people have as well. Here's my rationale, Strike. Beating Creighton is always sweet. Anyone that bleeds Husker Red knows the value of a win over Creighton. I've celebrated my fair share. I've lamented my fair share of losses to them. But here's the thing. Creighton has a bad reputation in March. I know that Kentucky hasn't played well in March over the last, handful of years. It's been a while since they've won a national championship. But it's Kentucky. It's Kentucky. Little old Nebraska, football school, making a Cinderella run. If you're going to continue a Cinderella run, I would much rather take down like one of the 2 or 3 bluest of blue bloods in college basketball than beat Creighton. Especially too, because Nebraska doesn't ever play Kentucky, right? This is maybe your one crack at the king. And if you beat Creighton, cool. You can hold it over them forever. You get a matchup in the NCAA tournament, you beat them, you have that trump card. But say Creighton beats you, guess what? You're hearing about that at football games. You're hearing about that at volleyball games, even though Creighton's little sister in that regard, right? Playing Creighton in the NCAA tournament is the ultimate high risk, high reward sort of play. Playing Kentucky, you get one shot at one of the kings of college basketball. That's hard for me to turn down from a Nebraska standpoint.
I think so too, man, to be honest. One, Coach Cal, his coaching resume and the level that he's been at and the players that he's coached over the years, you'd be able to look at that and really hold a strong firm on beating a blue blood program like that. And you can take that and use that, and so many people are going to see that, and there's just so many different things you can do with that. Now, the Creighton, that matchup is one that you pretty much see regularly, and I'm okay with that. I would be happy about that. I mean, as someone who has never lost to Creighton,
Say that again.
As someone who has never lost to Creighton, I would like that. That would be cool, but definitely a win over a top blue blood program like that. Like for me, it was we got to face a lot of tough talent throughout the Big 8. We got to see Norm Stewart's and Billy Tubbs and the likes of those guys that have made good runs and long runs into tournament play and stuff like that. But I'll tell you, one of the signature wins that I loved was beating Jerry Tarkanian. When we went out, even though he wasn't at UNLV at the time, they still had a pretty strong program at Fresno State. And we went out into their home and beat the legendary coach, Jerry Tarkanian, in his home. And, they had a couple of pros, a couple of good friends of mine. And Rafer Alston was there at the time. I think Chris, what was his last name? Shot him a text line, 402, Chris Herron. Chris Herron was a phenomenal talent, just, got caught up in a few things. I think drugs and stuff like that kind of hindered his ability, but he did spend some time in the NBA too. But to go out there and beat that team was significant to me, just because of him and who he was and his resume and what he had done in college basketball over the years. So I agree.
Mixed responses on the text line. 2526 says, Nebraska would have just won a tournament game. Who cares who it's against if you get a shot at another one? There's that. Brian says, no doubt beat Creighton. end their hopes and dreams. Jordan P. says, no risk either way. Both teams are supposed to beat Nebraska, so an upset's an upset. You take it. Les Lancaster says, Kentucky all day because, to your point, Strick, you get the shot to beat Creighton every year, right? And that's where, yes, it makes sense, where that rivalry is definitely developed. I think we're getting to a point, Strick, where it's going to be more competitive, more back and forth, which seems weird to say, in a year that Nebraska lost to Creighton by 29. But I think if Nebraska continues this trajectory, I think it's going to get back to being, the true in-state rivalry that it probably always should have been, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's really nothing I can add on to that, but yeah, no doubt.
We have 7611 saying beating Kentucky, Kansas, Duke, or Carolina would be better than Creighton as well. Notorious BIB says the in-state rivalry means more to most Husker fans unless you're a J-Sker. It means more at home. Absolutely, right? To have those bragging rights inside the state. But Strick, where I think some Husker fans are getting caught up is because it's never happened, they don't understand the impact that a win over Kentucky would have and how loud that would reverberate nationally. How many years down the road, for recruiting classes that could pay dividends.
Yeah, I mean, because like I said, they're going to be watching those recruits, those 2025s, the ones that you're in the era of right now. They're going to be watching, and if you were able to pull that off against a perennial powerhouse like Kentucky over the years, they haven't done and went the length as they've gone, but everybody knows Kentucky. And look, anybody that Kentucky comes calling on, they're going to take that call. I don't care what anybody says. You're going to be sitting down, listening to Coach Cal holler in your ear, and you're going to be giddy about it. You're going to be like, woo. You know what I mean? Then you're going to show up and see where their resources and what they have and they offer and their NIL situations and deals and opportunities there at Kentucky. You're going to be interested. Now, that's going to help you. That's going to help you because those kids are going to see that. And it's the same thing with football. This is what you want to see in football, is that a lot of those kids didn't get an opportunity to see the greatness of what Nebraska football and this program was. You hear about it, you understand the history, but you haven't seen it. And so a lot of kids look at it and they're like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? In today, but I love what Matt Rule is doing. I love the fact that he's changing the narrative on a national scale. He's doing it by his conversations and what he's doing and probably hitting them in their heartstrings and tugging at those things. And on top of that, he's sharing where they want to go. He's showing them a vision, something that they can take and begin to dream about or cycle through their mental. And it's getting through. And this is why he's starting to land some pretty good talent. And now, in these next few years, it's going to be show and prove moments. It's going to be, what are you going to do with it? And that's where he's going to be able to make up the difference. He's going to have a good schedule now. You're going to have great Big Ten schedule. You're going to have great games that you're going to be able to show and prove that. And if you can do that, you're going to land more.
Oh, absolutely. One other thing here then from Jordan P., who says, Kentucky has crapped the bed before. It's March after all. It is a stain, but it gets washed off. Yeah, it's been a while since Kentucky has won a national championship. Don't forget, though, that since their national championship, they made the Final Four, got upset by Wisconsin in 2015. They had a classic back-and-forth game, and I think the Elite Eight against Carolina in 2017, where Luke May hit that game-winning shot with just a couple seconds to go. And it's Coach Cal, right? We live in such a, what have you done for me lately society, which makes sense. I thought Cal was losing his grip, losing his touch, was, starting to inch his way toward the hot seat, but he's still won at UMass. He's won everywhere he's been, Memphis, allegations aside, and now at Kentucky. Beating a guy like that, a program like that with the level of talent there, it's hard to overstate just how big a win that would be. I'll probably throw a Twitter poll up at OnTheBlock937 so we can get the official pulse of Husker Nation on that. We'll go to break. We'll talk some more college hoops later in the show, but some Husker football headlines next.
The following is a test of the emergency alert system.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is now open in Lincoln. Shop our expansive collection of wine, beer, spirits, and cigars at 5040 North 27th Street. From top shelf liquor to crowd favorite beer, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits has a beverage for every taste and every budget. Plus, join our loyalty program to earn rewards and save on future purchases. Shop Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits at 5040 North 27th Street in Lincoln. That's 5040 North 27th Street.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and Air Park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
Garage doors can be expensive. Are you keeping yours in the best condition possible? This is Cameron Hall with Doors Plus. Doors Plus is a locally owned business that prides itself on the fast, reliable, and friendly service. Doors Plus offers flexible scheduling so you can book an appointment that fits your busy day. My team and I will come out to your property, both commercial and residential, and provide you with the necessary information you need to make sure your garage door is in working and smooth condition. Give Doors Plus a call today at 402-590-5800 to book an appointment and learn more about our preventative maintenance plans. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Empower a life today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Change is only a conversation away when you choose to share your wisdom, time, and heart with a young mind. Together, we can craft a brighter future, one child at a time. Ignite a spark of hope and be someone's guiding light. Find out more about becoming a mentor by visiting teammates.org. Become a beacon of change by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Hey guys, it's Bill Bush. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty has opened a new location in Pender, Nebraska, in addition to their office in Lincoln. The real estate world can be confusing, so why wouldn't you want an expert helping you every step of the way? If you're looking to buy or sell farmland in Nebraska, Kansas, or Iowa, give Ethan Sorensen a call today at 402-380-0432 or visit them online at nextagrealestate.com. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty with locations in Lincoln and now Pender, Nebraska.
When you were a kid, clubs were cool. Robotics club and space club and stuff like that. But what do adults get? Book clubs and quilting clubs? Nah, forget that. How about margarita clubs and old-fashioned clubs? Get to Upside Bar and Lounge for the best clubs in town. Try all 10 varieties of Upside margaritas or old-fashions and take home a free souvenir glass. Grab the whole crew and pair it with taco night on Mondays or whiskey Wednesdays. Upside Bar and Lounge at 29th and Pine Lake.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most, for all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Wednesday, February 21st versus the Columbus Fury at the Nationwide Arena in Columbus. The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the block. Austin Norman and Erick Strickland with you 2 to 4 weekdays, presented by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. Not open today. They will be back open tomorrow. Make that your lunch or dinner plan for your Wednesday evening. Stricky, I want to jump into some college football headlines here. We'll start at home with Nebraska. Kind of a big deal. A tweet posted today about the Nebraska Matt Rule X's and O's camp that'll be held in early February. Well, Nebraska announced the guest speaker for that camp. It's Bill Belichick. That's right. Recently retired, recently not hired, NFL legend, top 3 NFL coach of all time, Bill Belichick, will be in Lincoln headlining as the guest speaker for a Matt Rule camp. We just got done talking about what it would mean to beat a blue blood for, Nebraska basketball. I can only imagine the benefits that even having Bill Belichick around for a weekend could potentially have for this Husker coaching staff and Husker football if there is truly a Rule Belichick connection.
Well, that it's just not going to be possibly just him coming in to sit down and have a conversation and to speak to the people. He's gonna probably have a moment where he meets and greets the staff and sits down and look, you're gonna be able to pick your brain. Think of how beneficial that's gonna be for Tony White to come in and sit down with Belichick, who is a mastermind on the defensive side of the ball, just to pick his brain about things. You know what I mean? And I think that's gonna be so beneficial for them to have him, for those young men who have aspiring dreams to want to go to a whole nother level, and the coaches and other staffs to be able to have a feeder connection to Nebraska football. I mean, I think that's pretty dope all the way around the board. I think it's going to help the program tremendously. I would say if you could have got him as one of those assistant counselors or assistant analysts type, to sit in and that could have been even better in some instances. But to have that kind of mind to come in and to have him with his guards down, possibly a little bit more, you know what I mean? Because Bill Belichick he can be a little bit aloof, but that's because he's dealing with media and scrutiny and everybody taking his word. He can just really just talk and just be himself. I think that's pretty cool to get that element of Bill Belichick.
It's not off the table that Nebraska could hire him as an analyst. Do I think it's likely? No, but maybe this is, laying the foundation for it. But Strick, I do think it's cool too, because I don't think Bill Belichick is a guy that's all about the money, that is just coming because of the paycheck that Nebraska is, giving him to come here. I do think that says some pretty good things about the relationship that Matt Rule has with Bill Belichick, where Bill Belichick wouldn't just come because he's heard Matt Rule's name or because the paycheck is nice enough. This leads me to believe there actually is at least some semblance of a relationship behind the scenes. That's also pretty cool to see out of the Nebraska head coach.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. I mean, if you're able to bump shoulders and rub elbows with those type of people, and Matt Rule has been able to do that as a head coach in the NFL, and you're gonna be at certain places and certain events, and you're gonna talk, and it's a big voice genesis, and this happens all the time. This is why I say, the things that you say to coaches, or if you're disgruntled and you approach a coach and you talk about somebody else or somebody else in the coaching realm, guess what? They're gonna listen, but they're gonna look at you funny, and they're gonna guess what? Have conversations and talk. Oh man, I'd be careful about Strick, or I'd be careful about this guy, man. He bumps his gums a lot. He's disgruntled, or whatever the case may be. That's what you don't want. The same way that players talk is the same way that GMs talk, and to have those conversations and to have him to come in is going to be pretty cool.
It absolutely is. So that'll be the X's Nose camp. I think that's the coaches clinic that Nebraska football puts on. Registration is open for that. So if you want to hear Bill Belichick speak, he'll be in Lincoln. If you're a football coach, hard to pass that opportunity up. I would think that every school in the state would try to, muscle up $50 and enough for even a hotel stay to be able to have their head coach at least and the staff listen to Bill Belichick. So that's a pretty neat opportunity. Let's turn our attention then, Strick, to some college football playoff news of the day. We know that this coming season will be the first year of the expanded playoff. It jumps from 4 teams up to 12 teams for this next season. Before, the format was going to be the 6+6 model, where you gave automatic bids to the 6 highest ranked, or the 6 conference champions, and then the next 6 highest ranked teams. Well, with the dissolution of the Pac-12, everything that's gone on out west, there was some thought that needed to be revised, because then if you still keep the 6 conference champions, you're probably looking down to, 2 group of 5 champions, which I think would have been pretty cool for the group of 5 to get their 2 highest rated champions into the playoff. But you knew that the Power 4 now would never go for that, right? They want to try to keep as much of that money in their ranks as possible, limit some of that access to the smaller teams. So the board.
Pause. Let's talk about that. Stay right there real quick. Let's pause on that point. And here's why. Because guess what they looked at? They looked at that, I think, as an option. And, you're going to have those following leagues, the AAC, Conference USA, MAC, Mountain West, Sun Belt. You're going to have those pop in. Okay, so let's just look at 2023. Here in that situation, this would have put Liberty, the Conference USA champion, as well as SMU, the AAC's champion. They would have been the highest next 2 up. And here's what happened. SMU ends up getting their butts blasted by Boston College at Fenway Park, at the Fenway Bowl. And Liberty ends up getting blown out in the Fiesta Bowl, 45-6 to Oregon. And that's where there could be a little bit of pause, because what you don't want is these matchups to just be overwhelming for those parties. You want to make it available to them, because there are some outlying situations. There are some Boise State situations that end up happening, and you want to leave way for that, right? But you don't want that to happen. You want what happened last year to be up and down the college football, those matchups to be intense, where it provides a lot of energy and a lot of interest. That's what you want. So you don't want that situation to happen. Sorry. I wanted to stop there at that point and express why.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think it's important to point out, too, we'll have to see how the committee handles that group of 5 champion, team number 5 for the automatic berth. Because I think the easy thing to do, Strick, would be to give them the 12 seed. Say, hey, congratulations, you made it. But then give them an uphill battle where you have to go on the road for your first game and play really the hardest road, available to you, given if you win a game or 2, you're matched up with the 1 seed eventually down the line. But to me, Strick, the most equitable, the fairest way to handle this system is to give the 5 automatic qualifiers, the 5 conference champions, the top 5 seeds, regardless of how they look, right? Cincinnati, a few years ago when they made the playoff, if it was a 12-team playoff, I don't think Cincinnati gets the 4. I think Cincinnati probably gets the 5, right? They'd be in because they went undefeated and they earned that benefit of the doubt over 2 years. But in that situation, I would want to reward Cincinnati with a home game, right? I don't think it's fair to make a conference champion go on the road for the first game just because you want to keep the money for yourself, or you want to, think highly about the Power 4. So to me, the fairest system, the way it'll work out most times, is your Big 10, SEC, ACC, and Big 12 champs, or seeds 1 through 4 in whatever order. And then whoever wins that group of 5 automatic berth, whether it's, Tulane a couple of years ago, SMU last year, Liberty going undefeated, making the run to Conference USA, I believe they should be rewarded with a home game, right? It's still a tall task. They're still playing a Power 5 team, But the Power 5 team had the exact same opportunity to win its conference as the team that actually did win the conference. They didn't do it. Why should a non-conference champion Power 5 or Power 4 team get rewarded with a home game over a Group of 5 team that won its league?
Hence the problem. And hence why it's still kind of going to be some tweaking possibly going on, because the power conferences, and you know who that is now, and that is SEC, Big Ten. They're going to vie for positioning in that, getting that opportunity. And they're going to be vying for the money. You know, they're going to be pushing for their conferences. And with that type of power, how's it going to land? I actually agree with you. I think that would be pretty cool. I think deservedly so. But I would also say schedule matters, right? It's easy to run a nice table when you're playing, the Fireman's Bureau, and you're playing the trash compactors of America. You know what I'm saying? And you win 13 games doing that. But I also, like, if they played a couple of, Power 5 schools, like they went in and beat a Missouri, or, ended up beating somebody, a couple of them, hey, I might be rolling with that. Beat somebody in the Power 5, I might be rolling with that.
So again, just for,
and I'm not talking about an ACC Duke or an I'm sorry.
I knew you were gonna do it, but
or I'm not talking about there's no Pac-12. I'm not talking about a Big 12,
like a Syracuse, like
Vanderbilt, Iowa State, or something
Indiana.
Like that. Yeah, I'm talking about, no, you go up there to that mid-tier, that good mid-tier, and get you one against a Washington or an Oregon. Now I'm talking about not probably the new Washington or a USC or somebody like, go get it. I'm cool with it at that point.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And that's where I think Cincinnati, in scheduling Indiana the year they made it to a playoff, right? They scheduled these games so far out. Cincinnati had no idea what Indiana was going to be and vice versa. So Cincinnati goes and beats Indiana the year it makes the playoff. The win was okay at the time. It lost some value because Indiana kind of went in the tank after that. But if you schedule a team, like at the time you schedule them and it's a good game, I think you should get a little bit of credit for your foresight, right? Like, hey, we didn't think this team was going to sustain it, so we stayed away. But at the same time, you're operating on the information you have. You have no reason to believe a team is going to take such a drastic downturn necessarily. So I want to give these teams a little bit of credit if, 5-6 years out, they scheduled a team that had just come off, back-to-back 9-win seasons, and then all of a sudden took a downturn instead of like, oh, they're down, let's get them and say we can claim a Power 4 victory. That's where I think it would be, a little sketchy, and they wouldn't deserve nearly as much credit, because I think that's going to be the risk we see these smaller schools take, Strick, is as much as these Power 4 teams don't want to play each other in the non-conference, the other Group of 5 schools will be pounding on the doors, trying to kick them down, trying to get any sort of Power 4 game they can to try to prove that they can hang with the big boys and be relevant in those conversations.
That's a great point. And let's dig into that point right there, Austin, because here's the thing. There are going to be some teams that don't take that smoke, because guess what? They're already going to be facing a gauntlet in their conference. So some of them are not going to give your Boise State types, like, your old Cincinnati type. They may not give them that run. They may not go and play against a North Dakota, South Dakota State or somebody like that at risk of how bad it can hinder them. And it's kind of like a boxer or an MMA fighter who's the number 3, the number 2, or in line for a title. And an unknown, unnamed guy comes in that's called you out, that wants to get in the octagon or the ring with you, and there's no benefit to that for you. If you win, you're supposed to win. If you don't, then they benefit.
Why'd you take the fight?
Right. So there's that. This could be, as you said, a hindrance on those top tier type programs taking on some Tulane types and those are going to be monitoring what they did the year before. They're going to be like, no. Or, a couple years ago, no. They're just going to be like, nah, it's not worth it. Let me just run this gauntlet. So that you're right.
The teams I'm most curious to watch in terms of making those scheduling decisions are like your Penn States or your Ole Misses, right? That are always on the fringe, right? They're usually division runner-up or a game or two back of the leader, but neither one of those two teams have broken through into the college football playoff. We know about Penn State's shortcomings against Ohio State and against Michigan. Michigan, I think, is going to be down. I think Penn State's going to be better than them, but I've said it on this show. I'll say it again.
You said that before.
I have. I've also said that Ohio State's a national title contender and that they're better than Penn State. So if you're Penn State and you're weighing that out, it's too late for this year. But, 3-4 years down the road and you're still in the same boat, do you say, hey, we might want to be flexible with our schedule, see if we can get one of those upper level group of 5 teams on the schedule because we need a quality win. We trust this program. We trust that they're going to be in the conversation at the end of the year. And we need, a little boost to our resume this year because our conference slate is maybe a little bit, on the softer side. That's a big program. It's a big name that still has plenty to lose. But given Strick that they haven't achieved that ultimate prize of, well, not even a national championship, but even a college football playoff berth, I think teams like Penn State and Ole Miss that are in that discussion for the 12 team that should feel pretty good about their chances might actually be willing to take on some of that risk because of the reward it could benefit them with maybe a home game down the road instead of just a fringe playoff berth.
Yeah, especially if that team ends up, doing some major damage in their rankings. They continue to climb up the rankings. Yeah, I think so. So, yeah, that's going to be something of interest to look at.
Just as a refresher on the format, so the top 4 teams, so seeds 1, 2, 3, and 4, will get a first round bye in the new 12-team college football playoff. Then seeds 5, 6, 7, and 8 are the ones that will end up hosting home games. It'll be just like, any other, bracket where 5 hosts 12, you have 6 hosting 11, 7 hosting 10, and then 8 hosting 9, right? Just like you would see any sort of, NCAA tournament bracket set up. And then after that, it would end up being 1 playing the winner of 8-9, 2 playing the winner of 7-10, 3 playing the winner of 6-11, and 4 playing the winner of 5-12. Ideally, mathematically, the way it should work is then, 1 and 4 play in the semis, 2 and 3 play in the semis like we've come to know, and then 1 and 2. So it's a pretty, traditional path the way that it's set up. You just have, 4 teams getting a bye instead of having 8 games. You just have the 4 games, then 4 games, 2 games, then the national championship. So interesting to watch. It did officially get passed unanimously today that it is the 5+7 model.
Which once it gets to the semis, then it goes to New Year's 6 bowl style, and then the championship goes into a
non-affiliated,
type of bowl. So I think that's pretty cool. I think that could be cool for programs just to have a home playoff game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think that's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of old high school style where you get a chance to see your team, and it's good revenue for the program too to be able to have that type. You're going to get TV, you're going to get all kinds of revenue opportunities to come once again back into your home stadium. I think that's cool, man. That's going to be interesting if you could get Nebraska back on top and to have a playoff game in Nebraska at Memorial Stadium and with the weather, you know what I'm saying? Brisk and cold and kind of give you that tundra feel to it. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you want this.
Come on, baby. Come on up here and get some of this smoke.
Well, that's going to be something else that's interesting to watch too, Strick, is on a year-to-year basis, which of the top 5 teams want the bye, right? That want that time to get rested, to get healthy and have a week off, versus which athletic departments, might be hurting for some cashola that won another gate, or which athletic department, only played 5 home games instead of 7, or only played 6 and they won a 7th. How do they balance the desire for more revenue versus the football aspect of, hey, this guy wasn't healthy in our championship game. We won it without him. now we have another week, to get him healthy, to get him back. Obviously, that's going to change year to year for teams, but it'll be interesting to see, which schools we think would be all in on, yeah, we need a breather. We went through the gauntlet, and which schools are going to be like, bring us that money. We want it. Because I think, again, to circle this back to where we started, if it goes like you and I want, that's an extra gate with, 40,000, 50,000, 60,000 people in attendance, even for the group of 5 champion every year. So I think there's going to be a big fight and a big competition between these group of 5 teams to see who schedules just for the shot at that extra gate at the end of the year.
On top of that, right, what you just said, that group of 5 program or whatever the case may be, they're going to get a Power 5 school to finally come to them, right? That's you. You're going to get an Oregon, or you're going to get Penn State, or you're going to get somebody to come into your stadium. And boy, the city's going to be on fire. I mean, whatever the case may be and however it goes down, but boy, that you're right. They're going to be looking for that opportunity.
Talk about like your Super Bowl. That's absolutely what that's going to turn into. And I think it's going to be absolutely incredible in terms of the environments that we get to see at places we haven't necessarily been used to it. He's Strick. I'm Austin. Good stuff there on the college football playoff. We'll wrap up hour 1 with some comments from a former NBA player on one of his former head coaches. We'll play the audio for you, get you set up for hour 2 of On the Block here in just a sec.
Problem gambling is not just a financial issue. It's an emotional problem with financial consequences. If your loved one is struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300. That's 402-476-2300.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
To get into the electrical construction industry. The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey, it's Chad of the Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the all-new complete post-workout recovery, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today and try a free sample or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, mainly sunny and breezy with mild temperatures. We'll see a high around 68. Tonight, mainly clear with less wind, the low around 33. And tomorrow, mainly sunny skies return. So does the warmth with calm winds. We'll see a high around 67. Meteorologist Kyle Tucker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The Omaha Supernovas are back in action this Wednesday, February 21st versus the Columbus Fury at the Nationwide Arena in Columbus.
The Mullen Motors pregame show with Derek Pearson and Renee Saunders starts at 5 p.m. with first serve at 6. Make sure to tune in to the next Ag Appraisal and Realty postgame show right after the match ends. Catch all the action on your flagship station, 93.7 The Ticket, and statewide on the Supernovas Radio Network.
People always ask, what are Jake and Sip like when they're off the air? Well, the answer probably won't surprise you.
Hey, Jake, your Honda's looking a little dirty.
Says the guy whose license plate is barely visible.
I mean, do you even care about that thing anymore?
It gets a little uncomfortable. Now, that's when I jump in.
Hey, whoa. Mark, did you get a new car?
Nope, just took my car down to Nebraska Auto Detail. Joe and the staff made the outside and the inside look amazing. Maybe you guys need to go. Okay, wise guy.
Settle down, Jake.
Book your appointment today at nebraskaautodetail.com.
Sandhills Global is hiring. With their fast-paced, growing culture, they have hundreds of new openings in sales, marketing, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Full-time roles offer a 4.5-day work week, along with flexible internships in most areas. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Find your fit today at www.sandhills.jobs.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Back one final time during hour one of On the Block. Austin Norman, Erick Strickland with you. Maybe some drama in the NBA. Going to play you some comments from a former NBA player, JJ Redick, in fact, on the big four-letter network. Here's the audio. Strick, I want your response here in just a sec. Stricky, I don't know if you could hear that. Our friends listening could, though. And basically, the crux of the JJ Redick quote was, "I've seen the trend for years. The trend is always making excuses."
Say. Well, I could listen. I could pull it up here, but let me just listen real quick. Go ahead.
But yeah. So, anyways, JJ Redick is saying he's seen the trend for years. The trend is to always make excuses. From Doc Rivers, taking over a team in the middle of the season is hard, but guess what? It's also hard for players, getting traded in the middle of the season. You don't hear players making those excuses. Doc, always throwing his team under the bus, and there's never accountability from that guy. JJ Redick played for Doc Rivers. That is a wild thing to say about a guy that, at least at the time he was playing, Strick, we didn't hear about any bad blood between Doc Rivers and JJ Redick. Seemed like a weird thing to unload about. I don't know if he's wrong, but holy cow, I did not expect that this morning.
Well, I'll just say I thought it was a bad move. Now, listen, I can understand the potential logic behind it because you made a few moves. Your objective ultimately was to secure Giannis in an extension. Giannis had been alluding to and speaking about 2024 exiting, potentially. Not that he did say he wouldn't stay, but that he was open to exiting. So they began to make moves. They acquire shooters like Malik Beasley, great bench support. They make the trade ultimately for where they re-signed Robin. They re-signed Brooke. Mm-hmm. They re-signed Middleton, which was something for Giannis to consider in that process. And then you make the move and you get rid of Drew. At that time, you're probably around a top 10 defensive rating squad with Drew Holiday and that whole group. And then you exit him out, bring in Dame Lillard. No one said Dame Lillard was defense extraordinaire. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of knew what you was getting. You were shifting offense for defense, which ultimately cost you. So they made, my understanding in talking with some folks and hearing that, a lot was going on that they were having conversations with Adrian Griffin, talking about the fact that they wanted to make some changes because they were very aggressive with Brooke initially. So whenever point guards or whenever guards would come off screen roads, they were very aggressive in trapping and rotating. And Adrian Griffin's strategy was to keep more Brooke Lopez to take advantage of his shot blocking opportunities, which led to some defensive lapses and mishaps and teams getting aggressive on the offensive side. He didn't make that adjustment. Their numbers start to go in the tank. Hence, you get rid of another individual. I can't remember which one they traded, but then they bring in Pat Beverly. And here's why Pat comes is because he had played for Doc when he was in LA. And so he thought that could help with some of their defensive prowess and bringing that back. It did some, you know what I mean? A little bit, but guess what it affected? Their offensive rating. So their offensive rating goes from mid-tier, just outside the top 10, I think at like 14, they dropped to 24. Their defensive rating gets back into 10, and hence this is where you're seeing some of the discrepancy. It's not enough. And I agree with JJ. He doesn't get a lot of criticisms. He gets a lot of the greatness on what happened with Boston, and that was just having a super talented team.
Right.
To me, that had nothing to do with his coaching and his abilities there, because Doc to me is just an average coach. I think he's a good players coach, but I don't think he's a great coach.
Never got the Clippers over the hump, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Always had the talent.
Yeah, always, every year.
Yeah,
Wasn't able to do it. Blew, his fair share of leads in series, not just games, but in terms, being up 3-1, 3-2, 2-1. Didn't ever close many series out. So I
and they'll throw you under the bus and will throw the team. They're not doing no. What about you, my boy? You know what I'm saying? Like,
you've been the same guy since you started coaching, right? And he's been coaching for a while, so that'll be interesting to monitor. Milwaukee 3-7 in its last 10 games. Guess how long Doc Rivers has been there for. We'll definitely keep monitoring that as we get post All-Star break. We'll step aside when we get back. We're jumping back into the realm of college basketball. Husker fans, who should you be rooting against? Who's on the bubble with Nebraska? Who are you? Who should you be watching? Who should you be cheering against? We'll get into that. Maybe break down some of the conference races, and then go over the top 16 seeds for the NCAA tournament that were released this weekend, right? Just like the College Football Playoff Committee puts out its weekly rankings. We saw the first set of the top 16, so the top 4 seeds in each region out of the NCAA tournament selection committee. All that and more as we get into hour 2 of On the Block next on 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
Looking for a job that feels like family? Join Lincoln Industries, where tradition meets innovation. They're a family-owned, privately held manufacturing company with a passion for excellence and a commitment to their community. They have openings on all shifts at both the main plant and Air Park facilities, offering flexibility to fit your schedule. Whether you're a seasoned professional or just starting out, there's a place for you there. At Lincoln Industries, they invest in their people's success, providing opportunities for growth and advancement. Apply now and become a part of something special at Lincoln Industries.
Okay, it's time to sell the house. How do we even begin to choose from the hundreds of realtors in town?
Easy. We make a pros list.
You mean a pros and cons list?
No, just a pros list. We need someone with pro photography to showcase the house in the best possible way, pro marketing to make sure we get maximum exposure, pro negotiations so we know we get the best price.
This is one of those times where you already know the right answer, isn't it?
You know it is. Ben Bleicher and Professional Realty Group.
Contact Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's Home Services Ambassador. Online at prg-ne.com.
You're spending $300 a month. Binge drinking is the most common form of excessive drinking, which costs the United States more than $191 billion each year. By drinking less, you will save $300 a month. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
Let's just talk, because I like these projections. Left defensive end, Ty Robinson. Behind him, Chief Border. Nose tackle, Hutch Monster, and then Van Poppel. Right defensive end, Jamari Butler, and then Cameron Linhart.
Yeah, you got to have them on the field at the same time. I mean, that's a train wreck right there. I mean, in the making it. Both of them in the near future is going to demand double teams, so you might as well get them ready for it now. And that's just the best thing for this team right now, to have both of those up-and-coming stars on the field at the same time.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Hey, it's Chad with the Nutrition Authority, inviting you to stop in and check out the all-new complete post-workout recovery, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today and try a free sample or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
This is On the Block with Strick and Austin. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Erick Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
Middle school basketball coaching legend and Duke basketball shooting coach in his mind, Austin Orman. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Brought to you by Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. This is On the Block with Strick and Austin.
Welcome back to On the Block. Strick and Austin Orman here. It is the second hour of On the Block on a Taco Tuesday. Thank you for joining us here. And we're going to get into a little bit of Nebraska ball fan conversation. And Austin, we're coming down the close. It's coming down the home stretch. You know, right now, the Big Ten is past the midway mark. Nebraska has five games left in their season before they get into conference play. And there's a lot of talk about Nebraska being the last four in at this particular point in time. There's got to be a rooting going on. And I'm not saying like a root canal or the square root of a number. I'm talking about you're rooting for teams at this point to falter, slip, break. I don't want no injuries, but to hurt themselves in an instance as we come down this stretch. At this point, Austin, who should we be rooting for the good, and maybe who should we be rooting for the bad? If you're a Nebraska ball fan and you want Nebraska to surge and find themselves into bracketology.
Let me ask you this question first, Stricky. Which is more important, seeding in the NCAA tournament or seeding in the Big Ten tournament for Nebraska?
Ooh. Right now, I think I think you want to make a run in the Big Ten. I don't think you want to feel good about yourself going into the Big Ten tournament, even with a good seed, even if you're mid-tier seeding and you just get that first day off. I think you want to make a nice little run. I think you want to take yourself at minimum to the semis. If you can get into the championship, man, go get you one. You know what I mean? Like put yourself in a position where you're feeling good, you're feeling confident. That's going to definitely propel you out of an 8-9, what they're talking about right now, and put you into a 6 and time for now. You look. I think that's better. Go for the Big Ten, make the run. And then that puts you in a better position to possibly do something unique that Nebraska hasn't done, and that's win a NCAA first game.
If you're looking at it as Big Ten seeding being more important, you're rooting against Michigan State, who's been on a little bit of a heater. You're rooting against Wisconsin. You're rooting against Northwestern, right? I mean, it sucks that Ty Berry got hurt, but you're hoping they continue to slide. And you're rooting against Minnesota. Right. You hope that middle of the pack that's a game behind you, a game ahead of you, a couple games behind you beats itself up, right? That all those teams like go 500 against each other. The teams that you beat, you want to win enough so that you have tiebreaker over them. The teams you lost to, you probably want to lose a little bit more to help you with tiebreaker. So if you're looking for improved seeding in the Big Ten tournament, you want Michigan State and Wisconsin to lose, to give you the best chance to jump into that conversation for the 5th seed or the 4th seed in the double bye, because that's still on the table for this team, Strick. I mean, finishing 13-7 in the Big Ten is absolutely doable. Nebraska should be favored in all 5 of its remaining games, has a lot to prove in terms of going on the road with 3 road games left and 2 home games left. But if you're looking at the NCAA tournament seeding, and you think that Nebraska is going to take care of business in the regular season, let those chips fall where they may, and you're okay with, getting the 6, or maybe the 5 in the Big Ten tournament, you want Wisconsin to pick it up. You need Wisconsin to pick it up, right? It's not going to fall to a quad 2 win. It's going to stay a quad 1, but the higher Wisconsin is ranked, the better that win looks. You want Michigan State to keep winning as well, right? I picked them to win the Big Ten in the preseason. I was probably getting a little too cute with that. Purdue's, let it pretty much wire to wire. Illinois has been better than I thought. But you're starting to see what Michigan State can be. They're starting to get it pieced together. And you don't play either Wisconsin or Michigan State again. And that's huge, right? Those teams can keep winning, and it doesn't come with them having to beat you to keep winning. So those 2 wins, I think, you need, if you're Nebraska, you need those 2 wins in the Big Ten to keep looking better and better. I think you also want, Iowa, maybe to win a game or 2. Not to pass you, not to get into the bubble conversation with you, but I didn't think that was a good loss at the time. I was sneakily trending up in that right direction now. So I think you want to finish ahead of Iowa, but root for them to win again. That's another team that you don't see. So I think Nebraska's in a really interesting spot in terms of what it wants in the conference, at least.
Yeah, and as you said, you get opportunities in your next 3 road games to solidify, to codify your opportunities to move up as far as your ranking, your national ranking. What are they still like 50? The net ranking, where are they 50?
They are 49th in the net and 40th at Ken Pomeroy.
There you go. So they're 49. You've crept up. You were hovering in just above that mid 50 range. You've crept up. You get a couple of road wins, especially starting with this one. You're on a 3-game win streak, going into a home game with revenge on your mind about what happened. If you come and lay a game against Minnesota and you don't lay it all on the line on that one, sadly for you. You know what I'm saying? Because everything you should be trying to beat the brakes off of Minnesota after what they did to you at home in Minnesota. Then you have another road opportunity. Now Ohio State riding high after a big win against Purdue at home. So no, it's not going to be easy, which is going to be a good test late for you. Revenge on your mind, and you've got another opportunity. If you can run the gamut on this, I'm telling you, minimum 4 out of 5 or run the gamut on this, you're double bye. Yeah. Because those other teams, as you said, are going to knock themselves off because they got to play each other. You know, a few of those teams got to play each other. And then a couple of those teams got still Illinois and still got to face Purdue. So listen, and Purdue's not going to want to fall any further. So they're going to be trying to, you know, get everything they can. They want us to continue to remain a 1 seed, even though they don't get the number 1 overall seed. They're still going to want to try to remain a 1 seed. And you know, if you can run 4 out of these next 5, whoo! Now you talking.
Taking a look at some of those numbers too, just in the Big Ten, and then I'll throw out some teams maybe to root against outside the conference as well. You look at Michigan State; they're 20th in the net and 15th in KenPom. They are a game worse than Nebraska. The Spartans are 17-9. Nebraska is 18-8. Michigan State is 3-7 in quad 1 games compared to Nebraska, who's 3-6. The team that I think Nebraska is rooting against the hardest, Strick, is Northwestern. You split the season series with them. Yeah. It was a nice win at the time. The loss, you know, wasn't good the way that it played out. Northwestern is behind you in both the net rankings and in KenPom, right? They're 7 spots back of you in both. They do, however, have a better strength of schedule and a better strength of record, according to the NCAA. And they also have one more quad 1 win than you. Northwestern's 4-5 in those top 75 games, top 50 games, whereas Nebraska, like I just said, is at 3-6. So again, you hate that it's because of Ty Berry's knee injury, but I think Nebraska fans were really rooting for Indiana to complete that comeback against Northwestern. I think these last 5 games for Northwestern, you really want the Wildcats to start sliding down underneath you in the Big Ten, because then they should slide underneath you when it comes to Selection Sunday.
Yeah, no question. But that's the thing, right? They're the one team that I told you that this is why I felt that game was very important, because they're going to get Michigan at home. They're going to go on the road to a sliding Maryland. They're going to also get Iowa at home. This one might be a tough one, but then they got Minnesota. So they've got all of these tough teams. Like I said, the depth part of Northwestern down this stretch, it could affect them because they're logging a lot of minutes. So they could have a night or two where they don't play very well. And if one of those teams comes in and has a really good night, hot night, and the defense is sliding a little bit, you can probably get them. But their schedule is very favorable, similar to what Nebraska's is, because a lot of their possibly tough games are going to be at home. Minnesota's going to be fighting for position, obviously, as well in the Big Ten, because they're going to know they're going to need it. You know what I mean? So there's where I feel that it's important for Nebraska to really handle themselves 4 out of 5. I think you got to go for it. You got to go 4 out of 5. And if you land 5 out of 5, cool, because it's really there in front of you. It's going to require you to do something you haven't done on the road, and that's win. But if you can make a run, it can give you so much confidence as you prepare yourself to go in the Big Ten. Hopefully you make a run there, continue the run that you're on, and then propel you hopefully into a confident late. And you get a good seed. And my thing for Nebraska is, if you can do that, put yourself in such a great position so that you can stay in the Midwest. That would be huge. From now, you've got a game up in Omaha, which would be huge.
You mentioned 4-1 and 5-0, absolutely on the table. But Strick, I know there are a lot of nervous Nebraska basketball fans out there who have been in this position before and have seen a collapse, seen a lack of follow through. 3581 asks, what happens though if the Huskers finish 3-2? How does that look? For my money, you're sweating it out on Selection Sunday unless you make noise in the Big Ten tournament, right? Nebraska should be a factor in the Big Ten tournament anyways. But if you go 3-2, that means you at least won one road game. So you got that monkey off your back to some degree. but there's not really a way for you to improve your resume right now. If you lose 2 games, that's 2 pretty big check marks against you in the wrong column. So if you go 3-2, semis become a must in the Big Ten tournament. Is that fair?
Fair. Very fair. But I think with those teams ahead of you, unless they go on a run, because it's going to require those teams that are ahead of you to do something on the road, which obviously in the Big Ten, all across conferences, no one's really done on the road. But it's going to require someone in that mid-tier in the Big Ten to make a road run.
Yeah.
And
why not Nebraska?
It's set up for you. Look, this is the same way I felt when Nebraska football was in the position they were in. I'm like, it's right here in front of you. What do you want to do? Like the conversation, if I'm Fred Hoiberg, I'm having with the team, how great do you want to be? Do you really want it? Or do you really want to do something unique to Nebraska basketball in its recent past? Do you want to do something? It's right here for you. It's going to require you to do more, hustle more, scrap more, practice harder. It's going to require all of that stuff. If you want it, you're going to tell me a lot about who you want to be. I mean, like, I'm going to throw it on them, Austin. This is going to tell me a lot about who you want to be in these next 5 games.
It absolutely is. And I think there's a texter here, 0657, that could not agree with you anymore. They say we control our own destiny in terms of Nebraska basketball. Absolutely. Right. If Nebraska goes 5-0, then they're in pretty good spot. They did everything you can ask of them. But what we know about Nebraska basketball, Strick, is the brand isn't at a spot where Nebraska gets a lot of the benefit of the doubt. Yeah. We saw that the last time Nebraska got relegated to the NIT, right? Had a really good run in the regular season in the conference and got left out. If Nebraska had made an NCAA tournament in, the previous couple years, I think that Nebraska team back then gets in. There's not a lot of equity. There's not a lot of staying power in the Nebraska brand right now. So if you're Nebraska, your approach has to be, we do this ourselves or not at all. We don't want help from the outside. We want the challenge of going on the road and winning these games, because the second you start depending on someone else to lose or someone else to pull an upset, you're in trouble. Just go take care of your own business. Let the chips fall where they may everywhere else.
There it is. Just like that. It's right in front of you. It's going to tell you a lot about who they are and those men in there, because the tendency can be, Austin, is this team can be saying to themselves, oh man, we're going to be together next year, man. We just going to, run it out and give it our best shot. But that means you're leaving room for some just lackluster, or, I don't want to give the effort this game or whatever the case. You're leaving room for that. No, you don't know what's going to happen next year. You don't know who's going to be there. Transfer portal is real. You don't know who's coming in. You don't know who's going out. So no, don't worry about who's coming back. Don't worry about who's staying. None of that. Let's go out and do this right now. I mean, literally, that's the mode we took. But we were seniors, but they're juniors. Like our junior year was a lot of what I just said to you. Our junior year is, we got this group coming back, man. Yeah, we made a nice run, but we about to tear some stuff up. And we started out that way, but then, oh my gosh, fell off the wagon. That's what I'm hoping doesn't fall into the psyche of this team. Go and get it. Go get it.
I think that's a fantastic direction to take this too, because I'm going to go back just 2 years. North Carolina beats Duke in the Final Four, go to the national championship game, brings back its entire starting 5, preseason number 1, Davis, Love, Baycott, role players around them, became the first number 1 team or preseason number 1 team to miss the NCAA tournament. Just like Nebraska this year can't rely on other people to do the job for them, Strick, success isn't guaranteed. It takes that continual investment. It takes, finding a way to get better. That Carolina team didn't do it. And that Carolina team is probably more purely talented than even this Nebraska team. They can't afford to take it for granted. They can't afford to look forward to next year because it's not promised. It's not guaranteed. It hasn't been guaranteed for anyone in the history of college athletics. Why would it be guaranteed for you?
Great point, Austin. Great point. And I think that you guys all listening understand this better than most. Nothing is guaranteed. like that was what was so beautiful about those Nebraska football teams is they never took it for granted. They never took the greatness for granted. They came out and performed, and those guys beneath them said, no, it's my turn. You know what I mean? And we gonna try to do it better than you did it. You know, that's kind of the mentality that they took, and that's what made them great. That's why they were able to make the run and have the streaks that they had as far as winning and going out and beating some of the best college football had to offer. But you gotta go take it. You gotta go and beat it. You gotta go and look them in the face like Muhammad Ali looked at juggernauts and looked them up and down and said, I don't care how big you are, gorilla, we coming after you. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
He's Strick. I'm Austin. We'll give you some teams out of conference to root against here as we keep getting closer to March Madness. But before we look at the fringe of the tournament, Strick, I want to start at the top. We got the committee's top 16 teams in the country. I want to go over that list, some quick thoughts on a few of those teams, some surprises, positive and negative, who's in the top 16, who's out, who's got a chance. We'll get to that in segment 2 of Hour 2 of On the Block in just a sec.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, mainly sunny and breezy with mild temperatures. We'll see a high around 68. Tonight, mainly clear with less wind, the low around 33. And tomorrow, mainly sunny skies return. So does the warmth with calm winds. We'll see a high around 67. Meteorologist Kyle Clutcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red.
I need you to stop in and check out the all-new complete post-workout recovery, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today and try a free sample or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
The sport of baseball became segregated in 1889. In 1947, Jackie Robinson broke the major league color barrier when he joined the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Certainly baseball has grown considerably, and we're quite proud of the role that we've played in it.
Every year on April 15th, all MLB teams celebrate Jackie Robinson Day to honor this civil rights pioneer. We salute Jackie Robinson during Black History Month.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Are you in the market for a new garage door or need to repair your old one? It's wintertime, and that means snow, wind, and freezing temperatures. All things that can cause sticky locks and damage to your garage door. If you're experiencing any issues with your commercial or residential garage door during the winter months, call Cameron Hall and his team at Doors Plus. Don't be trapped outside in the cold because of a poorly maintained garage door. Call Doors Plus today at 402-590-5800 or visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors and more.
This is Brad with Midwest Bank, proudly serving our Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank, making local decisions, supporting local organizations, and helping local businesses and farms succeed. We are dedicated to serving our clients and helping them meet their financial needs with sound, innovative banking solutions. From an array of checking and deposit accounts, cash management services, to small business, real estate, and ag lending. We're here for you. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at MidwestBank.com. Member FDIC.
Acres is bringing you the nation's largest indoor display of John Deere equipment and technology. Acres 2024 Ag and Turf Expo showcases everything from tillage and planting to application and harvest. We'll also offer the latest industry insights from ag professionals across the state. Join us at the Sandhills Global Event Center March 6th and 7th or Fauner Park March 21st and 22nd. Go to acres.com/expo24 for a complete schedule of speakers and activities.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Step into healing at Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery. Our team of top-notch medical professionals turns pain into progress with state-of-the-art treatments and compassionate care. Visit prairieortho.com and discover the difference in quality orthopedic and plastic surgery services tailored to your unique needs. Your health matters, and Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery is dedicated to helping you thrive. Reach your full potential. Embrace a better tomorrow with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery.
Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're back on the block. Austin Norman and Erick Strickland with you here for another half an hour or so. Strick, I want to go to the text line here. I got a really interesting text from 5816 who says, similar to the last time Nebraska basketball made the NCAA tournament, you return some of your top guys, including Teran Petaway, Siobhan Shields, and Walter Pitchford, your three leading scorers. Preseason top 25 team that didn't even make the NIT. That team that went 19-13, made the NCAA tournament in the 2014 season, turned around and ended up going 13-18, only 5-13 in the Big Ten. I get it. No one from those teams are on this team, but that's an example, Strick, of the last time Nebraska was in this position, just how little was actually guaranteed to that team.
That's it. I mean, that's exactly how it is. You can never take for granted time. You can never take for granted opportunity. The opportunity is now. You know, whatever the opportunity that sits in front of you, it's nothing to be wasted or waited upon. It's to basically take it by the hand. Like I use the analogy of whenever I speak to young men and women, or go and speak at camps or whatever the case may be, and I talk about my NBA career, there's some things that they don't know. One, they don't understand and know that I wasn't drafted, so it wasn't gifted unto me, given unto me. Second round wasn't even in my career. Mm-hmm. So when I talk about it, I talk about being in a position, being in a place, and it's like having a crack in a door. You know what I mean? So you're in one place, you're either on the outside, you're either in a room, but there's a crack in the door, so you can only peek into the next room. You don't know what's behind the door. You don't know, if it's barricaded. You don't know what's in the room. You don't know if it's furnished. There's a lot of unknowns about just being able to peek. All you can just see is just a little bit what's inside the door. And with that, that's what opportunity's like. It's like just having that crack. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to allow the door to shut? Are you going to allow somebody to push it closed? Or are you going to kick that thing in so that it gives you access to everything that's on the inside of it? That's what it was like for me. It was like I'm sitting there with this opportunity. It's a cracked door. What am I going to do with that opportunity, that moment, that time? Am I going to turn and walk away? Am I going to just give up? But I kicked the door in and was able to walk into the next room, which was obviously for me the NBA. And that's what I'm talking about now with these guys. It's sitting, as we said to the texter that just came in, it's right there in front of you. It was the same thing for the football team. It's right there in front of you. Baseball could say the same thing, where they went to the Big Ten championship, going to their World Series, have a lot of what they had coming back, pitching and some veteran leadership, had a lot of that coming back, and then you know what I mean, fall off the wagon. So it's never promised, it's never gifted, and you gotta do what you need to do with it right there in that moment.
Well, we're on Husker baseball. It did come out not too long ago that starting third baseman Josh Overbeek will be out for a few weeks. He has a broken finger of some sort, and don't know which finger it is, but starting third baseman for the Huskers, Josh Overbeek, out with injuries. Played through it this weekend, decided to have surgery on it, so he'll be out for at least 3 weeks. They'll reevaluate after that. But back on the college basketball front here, Strick, we saw the NCAA Tournament Selection Committee unveil its current top 16 seeds. We'll go through them in batches of 4 here real quick, starting with the 1 seeds. In the Midwest, Purdue as the overall number 1 seed. The number 2 1 seed is UConn. In the East, you have Houston in the South and Arizona in the West. Is Purdue good enough, Strick, to earn that number 1 overall seed?
They're going to be tested a couple of more times, so it's very possible that they may fall possibly as low as 4, if not 5, depending on how many hiccups that they have. You know, those hiccups are always frustrating to get rid of.
UConn sitting at that second 1 seed is interesting to me. They're last year's national champion, and it's been a long time since we've had a repeat champion. It's been 15, 20 years, I think, since college basketball has seen a team go back-to-back. Strick, UConn lost Tristan Newton, it lost Adama Sanogo, but teams that are playing UConn say that this year's team is somehow better than last year's team, which is kind of scary to think about because we didn't talk a lot about UConn, but they were kind of there waiting in the weeds, just waiting for their moment. They make their run with a pretty nice path to the national championship game, but their record is better at this point. Klingon seems back and healthy. If UConn is better this year than they were last year, they are a legitimate threat to have to become a repeat champion in college basketball. Do I think it happens? No. But Strick, I don't think we're talking enough about how good UConn is right now.
Yeah, UConn is they're very good, man. They're very good. I mean, like I said, they look like men among boys. I think where right now Purdue is getting a lot of deference is because of who they went through.
Right? Maui,
Gonzaga, 11th in the country, Tennessee, 7th in the country. Right there, there's 2 top 10 teams in Marquette at 4. Then, not only that, they also beat Arizona. They also beat Arizona. They beat Alabama.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So just that whole gauntlet right there alone beat Illinois as a top 10 team. And then they also beat when Wisconsin was a top 10 team. So you're looking at just their resume alone. Now, who they got left, big loss. They get to come home and redeem themselves. Bad Michigan team, tough Michigan State, but guess where they get them? At home. And they don't have literally the size, I think. They're just going to have to scrap and hope that their guard play overwhelms. But then they got Illinois and then a hungry Wisconsin. So they got a tough gauntlet. This is why I'm saying it's not given that they're going to be a number 1 overall seed. They've got their last 3 games alone are going to be, tough to run through. But showing their resume, they've done that. They've been through it. They've done it. The issue is consistency. And this is where I think UConn is different in that they've consistently, from night in, night out, in one of the toughest conferences, got the job done.
That's for sure. The third number 1
Well,
seed.
their test is going to come also with this next one with Creighton. That's going to be their next test. It's going to be a tough one for them.
Yep,
We'll see
tonight in
that
Omaha. We'll see if number one goes down. The third number one seed, Strick, is Houston. I'm going to get on my Houston soapbox for a sec here. Houston came into the Big 12, right, from the American, where they had a good run, but they made the jump up to the Big 12. Didn't go so well in football. Is going pretty darn well in basketball. Houston right now is leading the Big 12. Kelvin Sampson has built a machine down there. Jamal Shed is legit. LJ Cryer is doing his thing. They're like they defend like Virginia did in its heyday under Tony Bennett, but they actually have dudes that can break you down and score, right? They're not as prone to those big scoring lapses. Number one in the net, number one at Ken Palm, number 3 overall. Houston, Strick, is a team I've been on the last few years. I thought they were going to make deeper runs than they did. I thought Houston should have been a Final Four team last year. I think they got tripped up by Miami is who it was. But Houston is absolutely legit. And we had a question on the text line about the 4th number 1 seed, Arizona. 3994 says they're going to be the first 1 seed to be eliminated. Arizona is a great regular season team right now. They absolutely are. Their resume is better than Carolina's, who's the top 2 seed. They have better wins. Their losses, really only one I would consider a bad loss, a weird one at Stanford. Otherwise, it's to 1 point in double overtime against Florida Atlantic, who's still, in the conversation. It was, they lost to Purdue, like you mentioned. They lost at Washington State, who's a bubble team, probably playing its way in. But Arizona is starting to run into the same questions that Purdue is. Mm-hmm. You rack up wins in the regular season. You're clearly talented, but you're always missing something in March. Last year, they lost to Princeton, and it didn't look pretty. So, yeah, Arizona absolutely deserves a number 1 seed right now. But, Strick, I think they're kind of having the same questions asked about them as Purdue is.
Yeah, I agree with you. Real quick, going back to Houston. Houston's got a tough stretch. Yes, they were able to get through Iowa State. Tough win, 8-point win there. But they've got to go to Baylor. They've got to go to a Baylor team that's kind of hovering just outside the top 10. Then they'll get Cincinnati at home. But then they got to go on the road and face Oklahoma, which can be a challenge to go into Norman and get a win. And then they finish it off with what's going to tell you everything, and that's against Kansas. So I think when you're looking at that situation, it could be a potential flip-flop where if Arizona continues to hold firm, they'll probably move up into the 3. If Houston falters in any way in Baylor or Kansas, they're going to drop and they'll probably switch places with Kansas.
That would make sense to me. Yeah. The 2 seeds right now are Carolina, Tennessee, Marquette, and Kansas. I've been slightly disappointed by Marquette. And Strick, on the low, Kansas has 5 losses. Plenty of opportunities left on the schedule, but this hasn't been a vintage dominant, Kansas season. They've won at home. They've struggled on the road. We see that. Tennessee, I think, is a team to keep an eye on. You get down to the 3 seeds. You have Alabama, Baylor, Iowa State, both as 3s. And this is where I'm going to get on another soapbox for a second. Duke is the last 3 seed, according to the committee. And Stricky, I ain't buying. I don't see that, which maybe I'm too close to the situation. Maybe, I'm just down on this Duke team compared to other ones. But when I saw the committee put Duke at a 3 seed, I was shocked. Auburn probably, has a better resume, is probably more deserving than Duke at this point. Illinois and Duke are probably comparable. San Diego State, I think, is getting a little bit of a bump from last season. And Wisconsin would have been, probably a 2, if not a 3, before their recent losing streak. So I think Duke's the benefactor of that. But Strick, if you tell me that right now, as of this weekend, Duke is a 3 seed. They lost to Arizona by 5. They went on the road and lost to Arkansas. They've lost a couple other games when some starters were out. I'm not buying 3 seed, but if the committee is telling me that Duke is a 3 seed and they have a chance to beat Wake Forest on the road for a quad 1 win, they have a chance to beat Carolina and get revenge, I think Duke is in a similar position to Nebraska, where if they rattle off all 5 in a row and Kansas loses another road game, Marquette keeps not showing up in some big games, there's an outside shot for Duke as a 2 seed. That's where I start going, ooh. I don't think this Duke team has the resume. It just doesn't feel like it should be a top 3 seed. As a fan, I'd be thrilled, but I'm getting ready to put my tinfoil hat on if this keeps happening.
I'm actually surprised that you actually took that stance. But just one thing that I noticed is just that the Big Ten's going to have to step it up.
Big time.
And it's their fault. It's the Big Ten's fault. They get into the tournament and they falter and fall flat on their face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's crazy that usually the bottom tier Big Ten teams have done better than the top tier Big Ten teams in the tournament. Yeah. And that's what's crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
But that's how it's been as of late. And so they're not getting the favorability. And this is why I say to Nebraska, I say, listen, go get it. Because right now, you don't want to fall like that old Nebraska team. What was it, 215? Where they had a really good top 4 record and don't get in. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be that. Just take care of what you can take care of. It's right in front of you. But we don't know how far Wisconsin's going to fall down the total poll. Illinois, to me, is capable of being beat. I mean, they're capable. So you're seeing strength in the Big 12 and the SEC. And shout out to Alabama, Latrell Wrightsell Jr. Yeah. He showed up as one of the top transfers as far as true percentage in shooting. And shout out to him and what they're doing at Alabama, because I can tell you this, no one thought that Alabama would be in the top 2 of the SEC at the end of the day, especially the way that they started 1-5 against top 20 opponents. And then all of a sudden, boom, just started clicking at the right time.
They sure did. Going back to our conversation last segment, another transfer to root against is a homegrown kid, Hunter Salas in Wake Forest, on the bubble with Nebraska right now. Root against the Demon Deacons if you're a Nebraska guy. Here's the thing. Hunter's going to get drafted this year. He's declaring he's going to get himself a nice payday. He's going to do it, Stricky.
I think you may be right, but I think you may be surprised. Like where Hunter's strength is, one, he's a great 3-and-D addition. I think you're probably looking at Hunter in the second round. I don't envision him unless he goes and he tests super well and just has a killer breakout moment. I don't see Hunter at this point being a lottery pick, could fall late. But I could see him definitely going in the second round. But the second round these days is a great place for you to be. Obviously Trey fell into this. Bryce McGowan fell into the second round. Guys that you think, he reminds me a lot of Bryce, with his ability, except he plays a lot better defense. So it's really going to depend on the need. You probably think he will declare. I personally don't think he should. I don't know if his mom and family are listening. I think he should just go ahead and stay one more year, completely dominate the ACC, and then I think he could probably creep into that lottery discussion. But I don't think this year is the year he's ready for that one. But I could be wrong.
No, I agree with you. That's where I said I think he's declaring. I think he's going to try to capitalize on the hype. But I'm with you. Stay another year, make all ACC first team, try to be player of the year. A couple things from the text line here. John in Cortland says, you cannot cheer against a team with a kid from Nebraska on it. Shame. Hey, guess what? I cheer against Wisconsin all the time. Sorry, Chucky. No, they're in conflict, right? I will always root for Nebraska basketball over a kid from Nebraska, right? I think that's just the fairest way to say it. And then here's this trick from the Virginia Pirate. Says, explain to me how Wisconsin got the 4 seed initially, whereas Nebraska is somewhere between a 9 and 11. It makes no sense comparing schedules. Here's the thing. People were high on Wisconsin coming into the year. They were decently highly ranked. They had a good run in the NIT last year, so they got a little bit of that bump. Wisconsin has been better than Nebraska, right? Not recently. They're on a bit of a backslide, but Wisconsin lost to Tennessee, lost to Providence early, right? That's a 2 seed, and then probably a bubble team as well. You lose those games, but then after that, you dominate Virginia, who was ranked in the top 25 at the time and is a bubble team now. You beat them by 25. You beat a probable tournament team in SMU by 8 points, so you win your multi-team event there right about Thanksgiving week. So that's a couple feathers in the cap. You get Marquette to come to the Kohl Center, and you beat them, right? That was just off of Marquette losing to Purdue, but people were still high on them because of how that game went. So you beat Marquette by double digits, 75-64. You take control early first half, and you roll from there. You beat Michigan State on the road, again, when they were down, but the metrics still loves them. So you go to East Lansing, beat Michigan State. That's always tough. Loss against Arizona, but you went on the road, so you get rewarded for having some gumption for doing that. You beat Nebraska. You sweep Michigan State. You get them a second time, just a few weeks ago. Hang tight against Purdue at the Kohl Center again. And yes, Wisconsin's on a skid right now. But what Wisconsin did last season kind of propelled them higher than I thought they should have been. In Strick, they did rattle off, 2, 3, 4 weeks in a row there where Wisconsin looked like a top 5 team in the country. I don't think they were ever that good, but they looked like it for a while, and I think they deserve a 4 for now.
Yeah, they had a good stretch, and they have a chance to codify. But I think when you look at their schedule, they have one of the toughest ones coming down the stretch.
They do.
So it could work to their benefit, but it could also work to their detriment. And this is where the trouble of scheduling in those situations could work against you because Wisconsin still has to. They still have Illinois and Purdue on their schedule, so it could propel them up to a 3 seed potentially if they run the gamut, but because they could get a pretty good quad 2 minimum road victory in Indiana, and but the 2 against Illinois and Purdue could propel them.
They absolutely could. It's been a fun show. We got one segment to go. We saved that for the crossover with Old School. Jay Foreman in the building. We'll wrap it up with him next.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, mainly sunny and breezy with mild temperatures. We'll see a high around 68. Tonight, mainly clear with less wind, the low around 33. And tomorrow, mainly sunny skies return. So does the warmth with calm winds. We'll see a high around 67. Meteorologist Kyle Clutter for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mosaic is a nonprofit, whole-person healthcare organization that embraces God's call and relentlessly pursues opportunities that empower people with diverse needs to live their best lives. Mosaic in Southeast Nebraska, serving Lincoln and Beatrice, would like to invite you to their monthly Discover the Possibilities tour events. Events are held on the 3rd Wednesday of every month and are a great way to understand Mosaic's mission. To RSVP, please contact Melindy at 402-429-0088 or visit mosaicinfo.org/Southeast Nebraska.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Acres is bringing you the nation's largest indoor display of John Deere equipment and technology. Acres 2024 Ag and Turf Expo showcases everything from tillage and planting to application and harvest. We'll also offer the latest industry insights from ag professionals across the state. Join us at the Sandhills Global Event Center March 6th and 7th or Fauner Park March 21st and 22nd. Go to acres.com/expo24 for a complete schedule of speakers and activities.
If you're in Seward or Milford, listen up. Select Plumbing is now servicing your area with no trip charges from Lincoln. Select Plumbing works on a variety of issues for your home and business, including general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate, 402-560-6197. It's not just Lincoln, Waverly, and the surrounding area anymore. It's also Seward and Milford with no trip charges. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
At Allo, we believe in the exceptional. From extraordinary whole home coverage to super fast speeds, our local teams are always on hand to make sure your service is running at top performance. Let go of lag, banish buffering, and enjoy outstanding service throughout your entire home. We believe in delivering nothing less than exceptional service, so that's exactly what we do. Visit us at allofiber.com to experience the exceptional.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875-1034 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
This is Brad with Midwest Bank, proudly serving our Nebraska communities for over 70 years. We're a community bank, making local decisions, supporting local organizations, and helping local businesses and farms succeed. We are dedicated to serving our clients and helping them meet their financial needs with sound, innovative banking solutions. From an array of checking and deposit accounts, cash management services, to small business, real estate, and ag lending. We're here for you. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Find out more at midwestbank.com. Member FDIC.
Hi everyone, Kendall Warnock, A1 Automotive in downtown Lincoln. The last few years have been wild, but we've been here for you through all the ups and downs, and we'll be here for you when you need us the most. For all your travels and for your day-to-day driving. With winter conditions causing problems all over town, the last thing anyone needs this year is constant car troubles. Let us help you drive in peace and make sure you drive to work and to winter destinations safe. A1 Automotive, 11th and L Street downtown, always honest answers.
The sport of baseball became segregated in 1889. In 1947, Jackie Robinson broke the major league color barrier when he joined the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Certainly baseball has grown considerably, and we're quite proud of the role that we've played in it.
Every year on April 15th, all MLB teams celebrate Jackie Robinson Day to honor this civil rights pioneer. We salute Jackie Robinson during Black History Month.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
We're speaking to Husker baseball assistant Lance Harvell.
Seemed like there was a pretty heavy focus on the JUCO ranks this offseason. What went into the decision behind that approach?
There's something about junior college baseball. You know, if you've been through it, you know that life is what it's about. You number one, you gotta have a passion to play baseball. You gotta grind. Those guys are tough. They're playing double headers, every time out. So you know kind of what you're getting.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Now back to On the Block with Strick and Austin on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
One final segment here on the block. Austin Norman, Erick Strickland, been with you for the last couple hours, joined now by Jay Foreman. Strick, I think the question I want to throw to Jay, I want to make sure you get your thoughts in here. We asked the question, would you be more concerned with a better seat in the NCAA tournament or the Big Ten tournament for Nebraska men's basketball? You, Strick, said...
I said I would love a high seed in the Big Ten tournament.
Jay, do you agree?
If it's one of the top, because the 4 get the double buys, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it's one of those, if not, I'm more concerned about the bigger picture. Because, look, Nebraska hasn't been to the NCAA tournament, seems like forever. It doesn't seem like forever, and that's more important because you want to worry about that seed and where you can possibly, get your first victory. And anything can happen if you get, to the round of 32 to get to the Sweet 16.
That came up because as we were talking about the bubble picture for Nebraska in the last 5 games of the regular season, 2 teams that I think really inform which one you prefer, the Big Ten tournament seed or the NCAA tournament seed, are Michigan State and Wisconsin. 2 of Nebraska's better wins this season. Wisconsin's on a bit of a tailspin. Michigan State's going the other way. They're trending up. So I think if you want Nebraska to have a better seed in the Big Ten tournament, you're rooting against those 2 teams. Strick, You went over the tough road that Wisconsin has with what you said they have at Purdue and then Illinois left. Is that right, Strick?
Yeah.
So if you want Nebraska to have a better seed in the Big Ten tournament, you're rooting for those teams against Wisconsin. You're rooting against Michigan State. But I think if you're thinking big picture and you want a 9 seed instead of an 11 seed, you're okay with 5th or 6th place in the Big Ten as long as the Michigan State and Wisconsin wins keep picking up steam.
Yeah, I mean, it's now it's about, the hard thing, and I'll throw it back to Strick after I give my comment, is you're almost like doing two things at once, which you're supposed to be able to do as a coaching staff, as a team. You have to focus extremely. It's almost harder to focus right now, in the sense of, you see the finish line in like the gold pot at the end of the rainbow, which is getting to maybe that 20-win regular season, getting a really legitimate seed in the Big Ten tournament. That's your focus, right? You got to almost hyper focus twice as much, because you can get distracted. What's the distraction? Where you're at in the Big Ten, the possibility of making the NCAA tournament, the ramifications on the program, big picture, the respect, and Nebraska's made some huge strides, and actually reaching or matching the expectations and reaching it is two different things, right? Or having the expectations, and then reaching it. That's what's so hard right now. I want to ask Strick about that, because in football, you deal with it a little bit when you're coming down the back end of the schedule. We were thinking about national championship or bust. You get there, you don't want to stub your toe, or have a bad performance. Back before they had the whole college football playoffs. It's a hard thing to do, and it can affect your the way that you play, because it's going to affect the way you prepare.
So Jay, the way that I look at it, I looked at it from the similar standpoint of view. You said something just a second ago, which was, it's like having the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, and you see it. It's attainable to you at a distance, within eyesight.
Yeah.
Right. And my question, not question, but my thoughts on that is, do you want to get to the gold and dive in the goal, or are you just content and happy with looking at it and being close to it? Like do you want to go, how you see in the cartoons and in the movies, they go and they jump in it and they doing all kinds of, what I tried to get Austin to do in the winter, which is a snow angel, and it's right there. You can touch it. That's what I feel about what's in front of them right now, because I feel with everything and those teams that are ahead of you, if they can run off at least 4 out of 5 of these next games, which is in front of them, that goal, they can see it. That is an attainable goal with their schedule, 4 out of 5.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
If you can run that off, now you put yourself into double bye contention. You make a run. All you need is 2 more games, and you're going to play people that you've already beat, or you can compete against, and you're comfortable with neutral site. Now you go on the road, knock out a couple, get to the semis at least,
right?
And now you're looking at a potential 6 seed. You know what I'm saying? Now that's where I'm like, ooh, now
you like
I like that. I think that's a great opportunity for them that I don't want them to miss. But I said this, Jay, and here's what I want to throw to you now because of this. You've been on teams where you were young, where you've had success, and this pot of gold is in front of you, and you make it to a Fiesta Bowl or whatever. You guys have, or you've seen situations where teams have fallen short, and then guess what they start saying? Oh, we got next year, man. We all coming back.
Yeah, boy.
Woo, woo, woo. You don't want that type of mediocrity to fall into your bloodstream.
No, man. This is when you have the one thing I've learned, and I guess I got a little bit spoiled in college. We were operating at the maximum. There was nothing else for us to attain when you're winning, right? And this also happens in the NFL a lot. And then this is probably a little bit what happened to Philly and some other teams that like Jacksonville, where you have a good run maybe at the end of the season, and it can be fool's gold. And you say, okay, well, we got it next year. We're ready. We're set up for next year. And you start planning for the future, and you don't take care of the present. And you see that. I always say that sports is a relationship. It's no different, man. You got a lot of people out there that are self-serving, and they only want to put in what they want to put in based on the condition, right? Everybody's excited when they possibly can make the NCAA tournament. But then are you willing and able to go back and grind and reset to actually look clearly and deep to some of the reasons why maybe you didn't advance or you didn't reach your goals? And for this team, being a little bit young and just green and experienced in postseason, don't go play any game from here on out And Strick's right. Let's win 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 5, but let's play good basketball. But with that being said, when we get into the real deal, right, where it's win or go home, let's not show up and have any regrets. We've never maybe been ranked this high going into the Big Ten tournament potentially. Say that they get to 4 or 5 or say a 6, right? Legit. We've beat the number 1 team in the nation, which Purdue would be the number 1 seed, so that we can beat anybody. So don't show up and play down to the negative assumptions or where people try to pull the strings back on you. You don't know anything. I always say, go play like you don't know what you don't know. Go play and lay it down and really try to make some noise, and then learn after wins and losses. And then, hopefully set you up for the big tournament.
Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here at 93.7 The Ticket.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
I want both your guys' perspective on this to finish us out here on during On the Block. It feels like there's a very fine line between believing in yourself too much and being overconfident, but also not knowing how good you are, not giving yourself enough credit, right? I think this Nebraska men's basketball team can be a little better than it showed. I don't know if it always believes in itself, given the road struggles, but you also don't want the team to get too overconfident, get cocky walking into Assembly Hall tomorrow and say, oh yeah, we got this. We're rated higher. We're rolling. We're playing good basketball right now. How do you find that balance of like humility while still being confident in yourself and what you can do as a team and a player?
I mean, Strick would know. I mean, I guess it's just portable between, any sport. I just think it's going to come down to leadership and also making sure it's no different than having like a coaching staff. I always talk about coaches around here is that you'll sink or swim based on what the assistant coaches do. So you have to just be able to keep a humble, level head with all the excitement that come around here. And that's the same thing with some of the, the guys that really get jiggy with it with the new attention are the role players or the guys that, are a little bit lower down on your bench, right? Because they're getting a lot more attention. They got people at the locker room and they're getting a little bit more love maybe on campus and phone calls from family and friends. And sometimes you can maybe embellish what you've done or not work as hard to get you that got you to the point. So I think the biggest thing is 1, leadership, 2, that they're able to keep everybody in check and still be willing and wanting to be led. Because sometimes people make it and then they start to chill. And that's what's the worst thing you could do, because you realistically haven't done anything yet. You just got here.
Feel like you have.
Right. Well, it's a big goal, right? Okay. Well, then, it's the opportunity. You don't knock at the door of opportunity. You kick that bad boy open and just make something happen. So, I'd rather say it a different way, but, you don't just knock at the door. You come in there swinging and doing everything else and just worry about whatever is left on the ground afterwards.
No, Austin is laughing, and I'm laughing because, Jay, you do this all the time. You come in and you say the same thing that I was just talking about or bringing an analogy. And so I literally just said that same analogy a segment or so ago about opportunity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's like having a door crack. What you gonna do? Are you gonna walk away? Are you gonna peek in and just stay there and be stuck? Are you gonna kick that thing open and walk in like you belong there? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's a difference for how you assess and take advantage of opportunity.
We'll get out of here. What's coming up on Old School, Jim?
Man, we got the college football playoffs going to 12 games, 5 plus 7. That's huge. I'm gonna give a big shout out to Matthew Slater. He's him and Steve Tasker and obviously Devin Hester, Hall of Fame special teams guys, but he's hanging them up after 16 seasons. That's always great. And then you got some NFL news, and then we got a lot of stuff with college basketball, dude. We got to talk about that, the handshake line. We got to talk about that, man. It's getting wild.
I did not get to that.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, and then we're going to dive into a little bit more of Rick Pitino because he doubled down on it.
He did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Ante up.
Yeah, so he stood on his business. So we're gonna see what's it about, man.
There we go. Stricky, it's been fun talking to you tomorrow, my guy.
Yes, sir. See you then. Always, Jay. Appreciate you, my guy.
All right, man.
That'll do it for Strick and I. Don't go anywhere, though. We got an old school coming up next. For Strick, I'm Austin. Talk to you tomorrow.
Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job. Working at Continental in Lincoln isn't a job, it's a career. And right now, they've raised wages again, and they're hiring for production operators at $24.62 per hour, which grows to $28.97 per hour within 3 years. Skilled trade positions now start at $33.36 per hour, with opportunities to make more based on certifications. Continental also has salary jobs available and great benefits, plus medical and prescription costs at very low premiums. Dental, vision, and life insurance are offered at no premium cost to the associates, with increased bonuses and vacation for new hires. To learn more or apply, go to continentaljobs.com with keyword Lincoln. Come work at Continental today.
Are you working in or looking to get into the electrical construction industry? The electrical workers of local union 265 are now hiring licensed journeymen and apprentices and are offering great pay and benefits. Call Mike at 402-875